Ladies and gentlemen, terrorist green cells have been lit in this country. Obviously, we were off during the attacks in New Orleans, in Vegas. There was that weird plane that flew into a warehouse in California. There was a bomb threat that shut down I-85 right here, 20 miles from where I live across the board. Now, for streaming purposes, we can't actually show you the Cybertruck blowing up. Royce can kind of drag through it. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to drag through it right here. But this is the Cybertruck seen around the world in front of, or literally in like what's the word I'm looking for? The valet portion of Trump International Hotel in Vegas. And this is where you need to hit the like button, hit the share button. This has been a really interesting thing across the board. Turns out this guy was an 18 Zulu, right? And the special forces, there's that documentary film where him and Tim Kennedy are literally together in this documentary film, like running mount training things and stuff like that. Yeah. And so weird stuff. This is footage released from the FBI, which is people that we cannot trust until only Cash only gets in as FBI director. Can we show the FBI footage really quick, Royce? Yeah. Sean Ryan released this email, all right, that was sent to him, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chad and Todd, was sent to him by the guy they're saying was behind the Cybertruck.
Well, it was sent to the guy that Sean had on his show, who was another operator at some point.
All right, you two walk us through this. What's wrong with this stuff? Right. Can we go to Chad and
this whole thing, and Chad, just jump in and stop me and stuff, but this whole thing stinks. Because you got to go back and you got to understand what an 18 Zulu really is, okay? Yes, he's Special Forces, but an 18 Zulu, he is the Special Forces senior sergeant. He's an operations sergeant, which means he trains special incoming Special Forces operators. He does all the missions, plans, instructing, all of those things. All right, I'm sorry to tell you, all right, and this is just my opinion here. I'm sorry to tell you, somebody with that level of training does not pick a tank for a VBID, a vehicle improvised explosive device. They don't. They don't. I don't know. I have no clue because this is a rabbit hole that you could go down for a month.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the purpose of this was, but that man, that dude, could have taken out that entire building if he wanted to.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about this today on the Chad Prather Show. Royce and I are going to break it down for you even more at 2 o'clock Eastern, and we'll get into some details. And a lot of people aren't going to like my position on it as well, Todd, because you and I, we were talking before the show, we agree on a lot of different things here. Sean Ryan had Spaces on X last night where he explained that the email, because people were talking about the cursor was still in the email body, and there were squiggly lines under the misspelled words, and then there was editable in the subject line and things like that. He said they took a screenshot, they did a copy and paste, put it in an email. A lot of that stuff doesn't line up, but you're right. This guy had the kind of training, if he wanted to, I mean, they could have put together, maybe not the exact power of the Murrah building in Oklahoma City, the federal building that blew up, but he could have done a lot of damage. And I think this was a very strategic thing that happened. I want to break it down, but there's a lot of fishy stuff that's here. And I know everybody wants to rush to a conspiracy theory, but I want to give people a little hesitant pause there on that. And I want you to remember, first of all, Sean Ryan is a former CIA operator, and the guy he had on as a guest is a current CIA operator. And remember, the CIA are the ones we don't trust, guys. So I want you to be real careful. Take it with a grain of salt. And it's amazing to me, and we're going to get into this in a second, but it's amazing to me, 14 people were murdered by a supposed ISIS sympathizer in New Orleans on New Year's morning. And we almost swept that under the rug to chase conspiracy theories about a guy who, quote, committed suicide in front of Trump Hotel. There's a lot fishy going on with this, and the fact that we're running to this and chasing these rabbits, man, is insane to me.
There's too many questions with this. Like, the initial report was that he shot himself, before the boom. But that video that Royce just had, you can physically see the guy turn his head before the truck went off. Okay. I mean, you can physically see him move his head before it goes kaboom. Now, it's not possible for him to be shot from the outside because that thing is bulletproof. And again, I have to go back. If that dude wanted to do damage and he wanted to take lives, he wouldn't have used mortar, fireworks, and fuel. He would have, and a CyberTruck. He would have had Prius with some real mess you up stuff. This whole thing stinks. I have no idea what the real reason is behind this, but I will say this, and it comes with the guy in New Orleans and this guy in Vegas. If it comes down to both of these individuals who were both Army, both stationed at Bragg, both were in Afghanistan at the same time, if they were converted by ISIS to commit or try to commit terrorist attacks, that is the scariest thing out of all of this, because that dude right there in Vegas, at some point, he was the best we had to offer as far as patriotism and DOD. For somebody like that to flip should scare the piss out of you.
For me though,
go ahead.
For me though, reasoning, it just feels like a distraction. I agree. Nobody in their right mind would use fireworks and encased in a CyberTruck to cause real damage. It's a psyop. It's a distraction for what? I don't know exactly, but it's just to draw eyeballs at this. And I think get people to start thinking about the idea that people are coming after Trump. It could be just to warm up the American people that people are trying. You know, it's not going to be out of the blue if something happens. People are already trying. I don't know, but that's what it feels like to me.
This is something out of a movie.
Yeah, well, let me say this. Even if we break it down to its most basic level, let's just say this is nothing more than two military personnel that were completely brainwashed across the board to do something horrible. Okay, let's just say that. I think it still points to the fact that our military, I think it's very interesting that these are two military personnel, that our military is broken across the board. You see all this DEI stuff, you see all this woke stuff, you see all this sympathizing with the enemy, you see everything, hearts and minds across the board. You see every bit of what is wrong with our current military. I think it's just even more testament to the point that we need Pete Hegseth as SecDef.
Yeah.
I think it's more testament to the point that we can't trust the FBI in this investigation, which is why we need Kash Patel. It's even more testament to the point, Chad, to your point, the CIA. I don't freaking trust the CIA.
Nope.
Not at all. We need, who's the director of the CIA? Crap, I can't remember his name.
Right now?
No, the nominee. I can't remember his name. We need Tulsi Gabbard. Intelligence director. We need Kristi Noem as Department of Homeland Security. We need all of these people.
John Ratcliffe.
Thank you, John Ratcliffe. Thank you. Had a brain fart. We need all of these people confirmed day one confirmation. So January 20th, Donald Trump's team can get to work fixing this crap from the minute that his term starts. I think that we need to completely almost fire 98% of everyone. 98% of everyone. And the good ones, fire everybody. The good ones can immediately reapply, and every single person gets relooked at. Yeah. Another thing you can do to fix the military, you've got all these war fighters that are now gone for either A, they got PTSD or something from the wars, and now the military is like, you're not good enough to serve anymore. You've got all the war fighters that just left. The military needs to immediately end all these DEI woke policies across the board. Then, and I've talked to Pete about this personally, then you need to go to the prior service guys, the ones that have fought the wars. Yep. You need to go to the prior service people that are out. Maybe they've got PTSD from fighting the country's wars. Okay, maybe they can't be in combat arms roles anymore, but they can still be in staff NCO leadership positions in non-combat jobs to mentor, train the new generation of warfighters that are coming up. You've got people that would rejoin tomorrow if Pete Hegseth is the SecDef. But the way the military currently is, we're broken. We're unable to serve again. The ones that fought in the freaking wars defending this country, the real war fighters, are not allowed to be in anymore.
Yeah, I think you have to start in two places when it comes to the DoD. You've got to start with the very bottom, and that is recruiting. You've got to change the regulation.
Correct.
You've got to give the legit recruiters more power and more authority to be picky and choosy on who they enlist in their branch, and you've got to get to the academies. All of these academies, you have to get it and change the policies. Take the DEI, the wokeness out of these academies, because those are the future leaders of the DoD.
Yeah,
And guys,
go ahead, Chad.
I'm just going to say, listen, we live, regardless of what you say about it, historically and currently, this is the best country on the planet.
100%.
I mean, and it's because we got men and women with the willingness to serve and sacrifice, put a uniform on every single day to potentially give their lives for our freedom and liberties. Those things are being eroded away. And when we started this episode talking about 158 Democrat lawmakers who voted to not deport sex offenders and pedophiles who are here illegally. Look at all of the benefits we've given illegals, from putting them in five-star hotels to giving them debit cards, to feeding them, to housing them, sheltering them, protecting them, sending them wherever they want to go throughout the country. And where are our veterans? Our veterans are living on the street. They're not getting the mental help that they need. They're not getting the care that they need. I mean, 22 a day is a small number compared to the actual number of those who are committing suicide. I mean, do you realize that they don't even report automobile suicides? Like if a person, if a veteran crashes their car, they don't count that as a suicide. Like if they on purpose do that, they don't count that in the suicide statistics. And that's one of the primary ways that they're taking themselves out. So when you have a mental health crisis like this, and then this the type of thing that we see are the folks within the Beltway, whether it's elected delegated officials or bureaucrats that are there to the tune of 4.5 million, and we're devaluing the people that serve this country. These are the kind of things we're going to see. I'm not saying the thing in Vegas was a cry for help, but it's a message. It is a message that's being sent that we need to pay attention to. All the more reason we need every person that you just mentioned, Graham, and I'll throw in Tom Homan as well. Yeah. All of these people who are going to get things done, make America first again. And as you said, Graham, it's an opportunity to finally build back better.